Everybody, it is 6:03. I'm going to call our open session to order. It is, yes, 6:03. So we do have a report for closed session. And during closed session, in regards to item 6A, Government Code 54956.9 D1, conference with legal counsel, existing mediation for district special education case number 25-26-04. The board considered and moved to approve staff recommendations on a motion by trustee Maselli and seconded by trustee Zeta. The ayes were 5, noes 0, absent 0, and abstained 0. So this meeting is being recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel at youtube.com/C/Benicia Unified School District for your convenience. Mr. Romero, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. And the reading of our vision and missions.
You know, I'm going to do that tonight.
Are you? Okay.
Yes. So, our vision, we are an inclusive community that cultivates an equitable and responsive environment, empowering all students to develop strong character and academic excellence to become well-rounded and engaging global citizens. Our mission, in partnership with students, families, staff, and the community, we are committed to inclusive community, respecting diversity and nurturing a safe and equitable environment, empowering students, being responsive to students' needs and voices while fostering the passion for learning, collaboration, and an individual expression needed to reach their future ambitions. Strong character, promoting social emotional learning, integrity, mental and physical wellness, and values-aligned actions. Academic excellence, supporting and retaining a caring and well-trained staff who promote critical thinking, cultural and technological literacy by ensuring rigorous and innovative programs. Well-rounded and global citizens, offering relevant learning opportunities to help build a sustainable future.
Thank you. So we move now to item number 8. Our highlight tonight, approval, number 7, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I will move that we approve the agenda as written.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And our highlight tonight, I'm really pleased to welcome Alfredo Romero to the podium. He is the Director of Maintenance, Operation, and Facilities, and he's going to talk about summer work.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. As you said, my name is Alfredo Romero. Good evening, Madam President Grubbs, the elect board, Superintendent Calabresi, your distinguished cabinet, and the wonderful Georgina Martinez. Again, if you can click to the next slide. My name is Alfredo Romero, but as of late, many people just know me as the husband of this wonderful lady here, Miss Maribel Romero. It's true, she's kind of taken the spotlight in our family. She's stolen the thunder, so to speak, but rightly so and well-deserved. She's pretty much reduced her husband to the Diet Coke of our family, you know, which means she's like, yeah, I like Diet Coke too, but not everyone. That makes her the imported Coke, you know, the one that's in the bottle. It's a better shape and tastes a lot better. All right, that's because there's real sugar in there. So that's my Maribel. But not here to celebrate her, really. What I wanted to do today was let you know that she has won Teacher of the Year for Benicia Unified on the county level and been nominated on the state level. But we wanted to extend our gratitude tonight and thanks for your selfless work that each of you have done here, your guidance, your leadership, your support, your passion, and your compassion. It is for these reasons that have created an environment for Maribel to thrive. And so on behalf of Familia Romero, we want to extend our sincere gratitude and thanks. Next slide, please. There we go. Okay, now for what I'm really standing here for. Talk to you about one of the most amazing teams that I've had the pleasure of working with. I've been in maintenance and construction my early teens, so about 10 years. No, at least a couple of decades, maybe more. That's not what I'm going to talk to you guys about. What I am going to say is over that time period, I've worked with a lot of great, hardworking individuals, but this team that we have here today has come a long way. And we came out of a mass exodus of retirements. A lot of experience went out the door. And so we spent a year or two regrouping, training, learning each other, adapting, making those fine-tuning adjustments, accommodations, and learning to play each other's strengths. And in doing so, in no short order, these folks have come together like no other team that I've worked with, and I'm so very proud to work with them. As a parent, I realized at a certain point that my kids are teaching me more than I teach them. And as a maintenance director here, these folks teach me way more than I could ever show them. So it is a sincere pleasure. What we're looking at here is our custodial staff, who a lot of them are new. Again, a lot of people walked out the door and we had to fill positions, and they've grown into these positions and become leaders. Maria Marroquin at the high school has just taken the reins and transformed that school. Michael Ray Hill at the middle school, he's so organized. He did an impeccable job of we moved the PD day over there, and he just did fantastic in his team. And then our whole team came together and helped with that. And that just goes to show you what we've done all summer long. You know, but here, our custodial team, those folks that have been around and seen how things get done are always willing to show the young folks how to do it and to do it the right way, which is tedious work. It creates more work for them, but they've always just taken it on and just without even a thought. They're like, yes, I'll shadow them. They can shadow me. Whatever way you want to do it, Alfredo, let's get it done. And it's been fantastic, and they've hit a lot of hurdles this year, a lot of new people, a lot of construction work going on, and that's no dig. That's an absolute great thing that's going on. But these folks have been able to be adaptive and just continue to get the work done. It's been amazing. Our maintenance department, which is the first-hand leader, is Ronnie Estrada. He's there on the right. They do just absolutely amazing work. They dig in. They roll up their sleeves. Here you see Lisa, author, on the right. And she is no stranger to hard work. In the middle there, you see new TK toilets going in for room 14 at Mary Farmer. It's finished now, but at the time it was, it was a lot of work. It's always more than you expect. We try to plan 10, 15%. It's always around 20, 25% more work than we anticipate. And these guys already know that when I talk to them. They're like, yeah, you say 2 days, we'll be there a week. So they've gotten to know really quick. Here's our grounds team, including Mitchell Filschek, who won the Employee of the Year award here for the district office, and his team, Christopher Moore. And it was all hands on deck this summer. We had to call in substitute, not only substitute custodians, but substitute groundkeeper. Chris Calabresi's there on the tractor on the right, which is actually a backhoe. And, he did great. But my guys were like, hey, Fredo, we always have to grab the shovel first, and then the rake, and then we have to use the tamper before we could even touch the backhoe. I'm like, hey, he's the boss. You got to let him do his thing. So, you know, we were all just kind of chatting about it, and the guys, you know, around the lunch table say, you know, hey, what other superintendent has even come down and looked at the backhoe? And so we feel blessed and happy that he's here and understands, you know, what he does and what we do. And he did a great job over there. And off to the right there, or the left, you see Mitch, he's doing the finish of that work we did. There were a bunch of tree roots that had grown up in the asphalt and made a dangerous pathway for the kids to get to the Gaga pit, which we installed last year. And so to finish that project off and give them a safe route, Chris manned the backhoe and we got it out, and then we lined it up for them with the natural, smooth graded pathway to there. The middle picture there is the building F3. Roxanne was able to get that building removed finally. Our grounds team came together and did some support work on that. And then we lined it with the new fence. It's still pending some painting. I'm working with the CDU in there to give them the, you know, little 4 squares or a racetrack for them inside that space. But the kids are just having a free-for-all in there. They moved back in last week. And again, I want to reinforce that it's teamwork. Here you see Rosalinda Rosales and Cindy Bogart, and you could just see the love that everybody has for each other. Rosalinda is our amazing custodian here. I wish there was a better title to give her because she's just absolutely amazing, right? And Cindy Bogart, she's like, I'm sure you guys know Star Trek, you know, when it's like, you have to call down, you know, the captain calls down, like, Scotty, how much power do I have? She's the one who does that for me. She tells me if I have shields, if I have enough power to do what we need to do. And she's amazing and just supports everybody. And everywhere we go, everybody just wants a hug from her. I'm like, what about me? And then again, we did a lot of shoveling, a lot of breaking, a lot of hammering and stuff, but then there's the fine-tune work that we also take care of. Mr. Scott Fortner, with the help of Trudy Barrington, we allocated some funds to get a machine to be able to do these paint jobs that you see here. So we turn these spaces that would be otherwise empty spaces into fun, practical use for our littles. And there's Scott in the middle doing some more racetracks. And then off on the right-hand side, the artwork and the logos that we had at the stadium, which is already getting older, and they were faded out. I was going to put a before picture, but I don't want to thrash anybody. That's the finished work, and he did that all by hand. So, yeah, we have an artist on the team as well. And then Mr. Andre Finn and Tim Anderson, they are our technicians that help us with HVAC, refrigeration, electrical repairs, and upgrades. And they're called everywhere at all times. For 2 guys to handle all our schools, it's really amazing work that they do, and they work really well together. They complement each other on the skills that each of them have. They meet together in the morning, figure out what's going to happen. They talk to us. And then midday, they're communicating on what exactly they're finding and what's going on. They also did a whole bunch of LED lighting upgrades, which I have to say is saving the district millions of dollars and not having to get a contractor to come out and do it. And they're retrofitting all of our lights custom, which is a big task, and they're chipping away at it every summer. Also, a special shout out to our student workers that joined us this summer. Again, working with Trudy and working with the high school, the counseling department over there, always trying to support us. And so we had 2 student workers come in, Aiden and Donovan. They're both baseball players, so it was amazing. We needed a pitch hitter, and they came in. We needed somebody to close the innings, and they were there. You know, they did fantastic work. So thanks to them and their parents, and again, Brianna Kleinschmidt for developing these students to be able to hand them off to us and then them be so productive. We did, you know, a lot of underground work as well, stuff that we do and then we cover up. No one ever knows about it. Mr. Edwin Martinez is our designated plumber. You see him there in the middle, halfway in the trench. And then as a team, once we need, like, you know, a force of action, then we're all working together there. On the left-hand side, you see we hired some contractors to come out and do some extensive work at Mary Farmer. We believe that we took care of the major problems that are there, and we got a close eye on what's going on. So again, I wish I had a couple of hours to talk to you all about everything that we did this summer. There was so much that I missed. So to my team that's listening, I apologize. I remember everything that you did. I just have limited time here. But we want to extend our sincere gratitude to our board members, the staff, and community for unwavering support over the years. That's it. Thank you.
Alfredo, I just want to say how gracious you are, and how caring. You clearly care for your staff. You support them, and you do have a great crew there. But I want to acknowledge you in your leadership role. But also, you lead with heart, and you lead with care, and to honor your wife as well here tonight it's just so heartwarming. So I want to thank you for everything you and your crew do. But I also want to just say thank you for your graciousness and kindness.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so now, yeah. Now we come to item number 9, which is our superintendent, Mr. Calabrese. You're up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Board of Trustees. So some of this is going to be a repeat of what Alfredo said, and so as I take you through the slides here. And so lots of projects going on throughout Benicia School District, both from Alfredo and his team in maintenance and operations and facilities, but also what Roxanne has been leading in bond work. And so this first slide starts us off at Benicia High School, and you see lots of things happening as you drive by, right, with the field and the changes there, but what you're not seeing is the things that are happening inside. And so Roxanne was able to hire a painting contractor who came in and painted all the pillars, and they were so efficient, did such a great job that she was able to extend that to do all the railings as well, and so that won't stand out. I gotta tell you, my last district took 6 months to get a middle school painted, and these guys are done here shortly. So, go back one more, please. Thank you. These are our new band lockers. And so right now they're in the temporary band room until the PAB is done. They're phenomenal, just really, really fantastic job. So thank you. So I just want to, I keep taking pictures before and after shots of this field. And so this wall, the plumbing that's underneath there, I know it just looks like a bunch of dirt, but all the work that went into where we're at right now is significant. And so when we're done here, and I just want to remind the board, but also this community, we create these fields here, this ballpark, which is going to be, in my opinion, second to none. It's going to rival college stadiums. But we're doing that because of a Title IX issue, right? Our girls should be playing on the same similar fields as our guys are playing on. And right now, our ladies softball team plays up at Mary Farmer Elementary School. And so doing this moves them to the high school and then allows us to do construction at Mary Farmer. As we all know, it needs to be updated and needs some new classrooms out there. And then roofs. You know, we never met a leak that we did like in the Benicia School District, and so they're everywhere. And so getting the roofs done at the high school is significant. Getting the roofs done at Joe Henderson is significant. So I can't say enough about the work that Roxanne's done this summer in coordinating all of this. Lots of projects. Okay, next slide. This is a before and after shot. So out at Joe Henderson, we had that old building in the back. That was completely taken out. That is not me on the excavator. I have not operated an excavator of that size yet. And then that's the after shot. And so the fence has been put up, and then the blacktop. And then this could be potentially a future home of additional classrooms, depending on where we go with enrollment over the next 5 to 10 years. This is the Benicia High School, so the roof's being done, and then new flooring being put in, and the work, the picture in the middle is actually, that is at Mary Farmer Elementary School, and I think I forget the name of what we call that. What do we call that, Roxanne? Primary Center? Thank you. That one always throws me for a loop. I call it the Burley Big Room. that reminds me of third grade at Brentwood Elementary School, where we had the accordion doors and open classrooms, if you all remember those. So, yeah. And anyways, the work that they've done there is phenomenal. You know, Alfredo already talked about Mitch and about Chris and Scott. There we go. And the work that they've done this summer. Our maintenance crew, in my opinion, is just second to none. They go out there and they dig right in the work that they do, and they make things work. And so really, really appreciate the entire crew and all they do. And I was on the backhoe. Thank you, Alfredo, for the accolades. I got off pretty quickly when I realized I was just slowing these guys down. And Mitch just jumps right into the work, and I was really afraid I was going to knock him in the head with the backhoe as he was jumping in to grab pieces of asphalt as I was pulling them up. And so that is how I got myself through college, was I operated a backhoe for about 30 years of my life. So anyways, next slide. This was freshman orientation, which was really cool to see. And as we walked around, and it's freshmen getting familiar with the high school, and I asked Brianna, do you remember freshman orientation for yourself at Benicia High School? And she's like, I sure do. And I could describe freshman orientation for myself back in 1980-something. And so it was great to see these students. It was great to see their enthusiasm. But our student leaders, I can't say enough about our high school students. And the way they were handling themselves, the energy that you felt, and they were really wanting this freshman class to feel like they belong and they're part of the school, and answering questions and everything else. And so it was just really, really cool to see. It was heartwarming, and super proud of them. Our first meeting with this is with our admin staff, and so Catherine did a great job in setting us up with charting the course. All of us were presenting that day, and so this is a few pictures of what happened. We held it here in our gymnasium at Liberty, and it was a great day. Got a lot out of it, and the results are just charting the course for what we're doing this year, and ensuring that we're innovative, we're inspiring, and doing the work, inclusion and impact. Go ahead, next slide. With the us reducing our budget by $1.7 million last year is significant, and part of that was Student Services Department. So this is where that work went. And so this was a slide to provide to our principals, to our admin teams, but we also provided it to our office staffs today, and communicating to them where do they go to get these questions answered, or how to get support in these various areas. And so I'm happy to share this with all of you as well. But I think it was incredibly important, and that work that is still there, even though those people are not. And so where does it go? And so we want to answer that question so folks knew. This is the DO staff beginning of the year meeting. There's Alfredo presenting about, I forget what that slide says, something about the delivery of packages and ensuring where they go. And so we got a lot out of it that day. We talked about our norms as a staff here, and we talked about being one team and how important it is to be one team, right? When someone comes to the door here, as we serve our community, whether it's a community member, a parent trying to move in, all those types of things, that we're one team. And so it doesn't matter that it's not our department. We're going to help you get those questions answered. We're going to take you to the right department. And it was a great, great feeling that day, and food services fed us well. Substitute training, just a shout out to Dr. Lindsay Wisely, been in the district for just over a month, and here's 50 substitute teachers in the room that she's training them. I walk in, and they were talking about mandated reporter, and then we got the side, a curveball thrown at me as introduced the superintendent, and then someone's asking me about active shooter training. And so we pivoted and answered the question about active shooter training, which I appreciated that this person was even thinking about that. So kudos to Lindsay, 50 people in the room. New staff orientation, gosh, that was yesterday, wasn't it? It feels like a week ago, but it was yesterday. It's been quite the whirlwind. So we had 31 new hires in the district of teachers and classified staff members, largely due to either attrition, and retirements and things like that. And so brought these people on board and let them know what our vision is and how we can best support them and support our students. And they went on a tour of all of our schools. And so office staff and principals met them out front, greeted them, and so they were able to see what the Benicia School District looks like. And that was part of a scavenger hunt. And that bag there is something that every new employee got, and they love it so much that Lindsay and Trudy were able to find some grant money to be able to purchase that for our employees. So super excited, right? Do I have that right? I do have that right? Okay, good. Otherwise, we now have to pay, I would be paying for bags, so, all right, glad I got that right. So it was, yeah, it's really cool. It was cool that people were asking, hey, where do I get that? So, all right. Today, our professional development day, I gotta tell you, the energy in the air was super exciting. Our cheerleaders were there greeting us as we walked onto Benicia Middle School, and we introduced our new staff. Lindsay did a phenomenal job, as well as Catherine and Trudy. Trudy got to introduce us as we introduced everyone that was new in the district since last year's new professional development day. This is 1 year ago that I was interviewing with all of you. And so, and then starting September 18th. So it was an exciting day, and we got a lot out of it. Next slide. And so here's a couple sessions that were happening. Lindsay Fuller is someone that we bring in, and just phenomenal training from Lindsay. She does such a great job, and so all staff was able to partake of that. There was a menu as where they went. And then this is Trudy presenting to our office teams, talking about various procedures, and it was fantastic. And I asked various folks that were there, did you get what you needed? And they got the clarity. Felt very informed, and were able to express some of their concerns and questions that they had, so that we can make systems better. So that was great. And I think that's my last one. Let's see here. That's it. Yes, it is. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. So now we come to board reports, and this morning I had the honor and the privilege to attend the Welcome Back to School PD Day, and it was really wonderful. I do have to give a shout out to our food services, because Tanya put out this huge, I mean, there are 500 people there, right? And Tanya did this incredible breakfast, spread, snack. So really, Tanya, thank you so much. You're so awesome. One of the things that was so impressive was Superintendent Calabresi's speech today. I will tell you that it was, and this is me as a teacher speaking, teaching for years, I have never heard a superintendent speak so comfortably funny. The humor was just all over the place, but he was so welcoming and so authentic. He was absolutely, you were just your very best self. And what it did is that it showed the new direction of BUSD, streamlining, getting things taken care of, taking out duplicate steps. But that was a speech that the people that I talked to afterwards, they were just, my gosh, I've never heard a superintendent speak like this. He addressed every school, had wonderful things to say about each school and all of the progress. So I just want to say thank you. It was a fantastic speech, so thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything would you like to report out?
I have a couple things. First of all,
something? I want to welcome everybody back, our staff back. I want to welcome Catherine and Lindsay to the dais. It's nice to have you both here. I also want to welcome all of our staff back to the districts and welcome our new people to the district and our students in our community. A few reports. I attended the Benicia High School PTSA Parents Social last weekend, and that was really well attended, really nice that they put that on.
As per my usual acknowledgements, want to recognize all of our parent-teacher volunteer groups within the district and our Booster Club. Benicia is truly a special place, and these organizations continue to amplify our schools and programs. With that being said, I'd like to acknowledge the leadership of the Benicia High School PTSA President, Marina Vlanar. She created a joint calendar for all volunteer organizations affiliated with BUSD. This calendar was created to help prevent organizations from scheduling events on the same days, while also creating opportunities for us to share volunteers, resources, ideas, and the incredible contributions that each organization makes to our school communities. This calendar is just the beginning of collaborations, eventually leading to a shared volunteer list. So much appreciation to Marina and those volunteer organizations participating, and those volunteer organizations that are already rolling and meeting and getting ready for the school year. So thank you so much to them. And the last update that I want to say is that tomorrow I'm meeting with Superintendent Calabrese, City Manager Giuliani, and City Council Member McKenzie, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Sorry. Members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available on the entrance table. Please note the item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will call all the open session general comments, Government Code Section 54954.3, during the public comment item. Comments for items on the agenda will be called for the specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, or the board may limit the total time to 20 minutes per item, with the timer displayed on the monitors. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment period, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. And I just want to emphasize that by law, this board can, when you come to the podium, we really, as much as we would like to comment, as much as we would like to engage, we are by law not allowed to. So please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. Thank you. So we have one comment tonight, and that is for Jennifer Baker. Would you like to come to the podium?
Hi. Good evening, board. My name is Jennifer Baker, and I am the city librarian for the city of Benicia, where I lead the team for the Benicia Public Library. Under our partnership with the district, I also serve as BUSD's librarian of record. I'm here tonight to first welcome you, your staff, and most importantly, your students and families to a new school year, and to remind everyone that the public library is an important part of the support system available to BUSD students. Every BUSD student has a Benicia Public Library card. They don't need to apply for one or carry it with them. Their BUSD student ID is their student library card. Returning students already have access, and new students will be added to our system within the next month. That card opens the door to a tremendous range of free resources, online tutoring and homework help, research databases and other subscription resources, ebooks and downloadable audiobooks, as well as our physical collection. Just as importantly, your students and teachers have access to library staff who are available 7 days a week in person, by phone, and online. We're open on weekends and until 9 p.m. 4 nights a week. So when a student is working on an assignment after school or in the evening and needs help finding information, we are there. We are also happy to come to classrooms and meet with teachers and staff to demonstrate these resources and help them incorporate what the library offers into their work with students. I also want to share one tangible example of the partnership between our schools, the library, and the community. I am joined here today by members of the Benicia Library Foundation. Last year, after learning that funding for school library collections had been eliminated, the Benicia Library Foundation hosted a scholastic book fair at the library specifically to raise resources to support library services to students. Thanks to our community's generosity, the fair generated nearly $2,000 in scholastic book credits. Our professional library staff used those credits to select new materials for the Benicia High School Library. The selected books include a diverse mix of fiction and nonfiction with an emphasis on current, popular, high-interest titles that we believe will appeal to today's teens. Those books are being donated to the high school to strengthen its collection, encourage recreational reading, and put engaging new materials directly into students' hands. This was a relatively small project, but I think it represents something much bigger. Our students belong to all of us. The district, the city, the library, our nonprofit partners, and our community each have a role to play in helping them succeed. The Benicia Public Library and the Benicia Library Foundation are proud to be two of those partners, and we look forward to supporting BUSD students, families, teachers, and staff throughout the coming school year. Thank you and have a wonderful year.
Thank you. So now we come to item 11, approval of the consent calendar. So, background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on roll call votes unless discussion of an item is requested by a board member. So, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
Second. This is a roll call vote. President Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch? Yes. Trustee Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi? Yes. Thank you.
And at this point, I would really like to thank the generous foundations that have contributed to Benicia Unified. Valero has an in-kind donation to Benicia High School Science Department for use in lab experiments. And also the United Way is donated money in the amount of $2,592.88. Mathnasium in Benicia made a monetary donation of $500, and Amports Inc. monetary donation of $750. And I want to sincerely thank all of you to thank these companies. It means in this day, this lack of funding for public education, we are so grateful for any funds that come our way. So a sincere thank you from the Board of Trustees for that. Okay.
We're going to introduce our new personnel.
All right.
I have it here. I actually am the one who.
There we go.
I'm going to introduce the person by name, and then Dr. Wisely's going to read the great bio. So in our audience is Christopher Perez, who is joining us as the Business Services Manager. I'm so excited. He starts Monday. Yay. And then Lindsay is going to read his bio.
Yes. Good evening, Board President Grubbs, Trustees, Superintendent Calabrese. The district is pleased to welcome Christopher Perez as our new Business Services Manager. Christopher joins Benicia Unified from the Solano County Office of Education, where he served as an accounting analyst, providing fiscal oversight to districts across the county, including Benicia. He previously spent nearly 5 years as a budget technician at Twin Rivers Unified School District. He holds a bachelor's degree in accounting and completed the CASBO Chief Business Officer certification program. Christopher brings a strong foundation in school finance, a commitment to sound fiscal stewardship, and a deep familiarity with our district. Please join me in welcoming him to Benicia Unified. You want to come on up, Chris?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, President Grubbs, trustees, Superintendent Calabrese, executive cabinet, and members of the public. It's an honor to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work here at Benicia Unified. As Lindsay was saying, I do come from the county oversight side of the table, so I do know that this is a really strong district, and it's a privilege to be joining this team. I look forward to starting, to supporting the staff, sites, and students. And again, thank you for the warm welcome. I'm eager to get started. Thank you.
So now we come to item number 12, our presentations. And Roxanne Egan, you are up and welcome to the podium. Happy to see you.
Thank you, welcome back. Great. Is there one slide before that? Okay.
It's not working properly,
oh,
so I'm trying to get it to show up on the screen for you.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad to be here tonight. I want to start out with saying that I added some photos to the presentation of our project work, and I want to apologize to Chris because I should have coordinated better. I didn't mean to be duplicative, and thank you for your presentation and the stuff that you provided. So I'll share some more. Also, just want to give full upgrade. The board packet didn't include the photos. They've been like hot off the press running, but everything else is the same for what was in the packet. I wanted to start out by giving thanks, by saying big thank you to all of the site users, the district office staff, maintenance gives a lot of support, technology gives a lot of support, food services, I mean, they get impacted by our construction because they had to move and they have to do things. It's an impact on their program. A huge thanks to the community of Benicia for passing the Measure C. And after I wrote all this and I was thinking about things, I'm like, oh yeah, and the design team and the contractor. So anyhow, it's great. I consider it my village and I know that everybody does a lot of work to get it done. So I wanted to start out with a thank you. So I was gonna start out kind of twofold. We'll do a quick, we can roll through these pretty quickly. Share out updates on the project work that happened this summer, and then we can roll into master planning for Mary Farmer and behind that Joe Henderson. So let's start with our project work. Joe Henderson, we had roofing upgrades at the main building, which included wings A, B, and C, and then we had the removal of F, and we had flooring upgrades in C1, C3, C5, F2, and the hallway adjacent to the NPR. So we can, here's some photos of the roof. You can see it was well past its prime, definitely in need, and here we are during demolition. Really pleased with the crews. They showed up really strong this summer. We started June 9th, and the site users were very helpful in having staff leave as early as they could. Administration moved into Building D so that we could do everything safely. And we all just started moving really quickly, and it was the same at the high school. The next photo, the white, that's kind of smaller, shows the roof a couple weeks ago. We are, I'm gonna say 99.9% done. They're completing punch list items. There may be just a few minor things during school, but they can access it from the roof hatch on the inside. They don't have to put ladders on the outside, and it will really be not anything that disturbs or notices people. So, yay, happy with that. Next up here, you've heard about this a few times, so removal of F, and thank you to Alfredo and his team, and there's a lot of coordination across a lot of lines, so, but glad that that's gone. One more thing. We can go ahead to the next one. So now this is moving to Mary Farmer, and as Chris shared, some flooring upgrades. This first photo is, I call it the great room. I can never remember the name too. If you want to go ahead and roll into the deck. This actually is room 7. So she got new flooring, and this is her setup today. So she's getting ready to open her classroom with new flooring. And then the next photo in here is of the great room, the new flooring there. And then they also did flooring in the principal's office and in 14 so that they could put the TK in there. The middle school got new lockers in the locker room, and we also got the cell tower removed from the top of the gym. Yeah. And that was, I wasn't sure that one, that was kind of like, you know, they say they'll be there, are they really going to be there? And then it all changes, and so I was really glad that it happened. These are the new lockers. And then we roll on to the high school. So the high school, we have had a lot going on there. We've got roofing in MN&O, They are very substantially complete with the roofing. The remaining items that they're working on are downspouts. And they're working in the HVAC pits on top of M&O. So I talked with Brianna. I was like, hey, because I could have them come on weekends and off work, but most of their work up there is quiet. It's not going to be intrusive in classrooms. So we're going to try to let them finish what they have. We think it's going to be okay. If we get the phone call, we'll pull them off right away. But I'm going to say 90% done. The painting that Chris was talking about, super pleased with it. It makes such a difference. But I also spoke with her, and like for the railings, on areas that are not tight on circulation, instead of paying overtime, they can go paint and put up wet paint signs. So we're going to keep rolling through that during regular school. Let's see. The next thing on there I have is the admin building, and we'll flip to some photos. But as part of the PAB upgrades, we had to install new sprinkler systems in the lobby and the admin offices. So that meant we had to pull out, and thank you, Alfredo and team, for all your work, and IT. We had to pull out all the furniture. We had to pull everything out. Staff had to relocate, and Brianna, thank you to her team, they did a ton of work. Staff moved into H for the summer, and it was completely close to them. But then, since we had everyone and all the furniture out there, it was a great opportunity to do full upgrades. So at some future date, we don't have to move them all out again and do everything. So we got new flooring done, new ceiling tiles, new lighting, new painted the walls, new tack board. So that was a great opportunity, and it's been a race to the very last minute. And again, kudos to her team. They started moving back in the office today. The lobby will be open on Monday. Then the rest of the PAB is in construction. The construction completion date is December 2027, next year. We also have the fields in construction there. They're doing great. Completion date, December 2026, this December. And then we got some flooring done in the G Wing. So we'll share some photos. This is roofing at the high school during demo. Buildings M&O. This is just some more, I mean, it was due. It was definitely due, yeah. More photos. The lower left one there, you can see that's the end product, and the blue metal skirting is all baked on, and the color, like the old one was rusted. It was, yeah. So super excited about that. You can go ahead and go, please. Can we go down? Sorry. Yep, here's another photo from the inside. And this is the admin office. This is actually the conference room adjacent to Brianna's office with their new upgrades. This is the main office, and I was as happy as the staff was today to see them moving in this afternoon. This is the entry lobby. So this is today. They'll be finishing the flooring tomorrow. It will be open on Monday. So we have the new wave on the ceiling, getting some movement through there. And on the floor, we also have a wave. It's got kind of a gray accent. And on the side, it's the same as our district standard for flooring. And then it's the darker gray on the left, adjacent to the PAB, but that will eventually get wood slats on it to kind of bring those colors together and some warmth to it. They won't be in on Monday when we open, but that's fine. It'll be completely usable. This is the back of the house. Even though there's things that you can see, there's been so much demo. Everything. This is what used to be the drama workroom. So just kind of sharing that out. There's a lot more than what you can see. It's been a very busy summer. And this is, so I'm sorry for this presentation. It's actually, there's different parts of it, and some pictures are larger and more, and then smaller, so we're not getting quite right. But this first photo, parts of it are the fields when they first started, which we can't really see that, but this is them today. So we've got scoreboards up, we've got dugouts, we've got the post up for the netting, for safety netting. They have got grading done for the all-purpose field, and they're at subgrade on the parking lot. And we've been really pleased with these guys as well. They've worked hard since day one when we issued their contract. We are expecting turf to go in October, and we fingers crossed, look like we're going to be good for completion in December. So that is my first portion, which is the summer projects. Before we move on, is there anything that you want to talk about with those?
I have a question on, I don't know if this is on, but, you showed the bottom of the roof at the high school on the new roof that you did and the baked on.
The metal fascia. Mhm.
Is that going to go on the front of the school as well, like where the PAB is, or are we gonna have that same baked on? Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, it's awful. That was included as part of our PAB bid work. And so the roofing on Olive A and that fascia gets replaced, that's mansard, it gets replaced next summer. So that is already under contract.
Okay, and then are students going to be able to walk through the lobby at the front of the school when school starts? Okay.
It'll be open on Monday. Yes, and again, thank you to Brianna and her staff, and I know that they've gone through it, and we've all worked really hard, but thank you to them. And it was really fun today. Towards the end of the day, her staff was starting to move it back in, and I was just telling them thank you, and you know, but they said, it was worth it, this looks great, and they were really happy, so that was really fun.
I have, before you move on, a couple things. First of all, you thanked everybody, and I just want to acknowledge you. And I
Oh,
want to
thank
say
you.
thank you. So, I know we put a lot of, I guess, pressure on you, and, you know, in particular, urging and hoping that we're going to get so much done during the summer to prevent, you know, work being done during the school day. So thank you for all the hard work. It's exciting to know that so much has been done this summer. So that's really awesome.
Thank you.
One of my questions was the entryway of the high school, and my other one was the roofing. There's all the fencing that's in the back, you know, the back parking lot. Is that affiliated with the fencing, and will that be?
Yeah, and
removed?
it's collapsed down from what it was, and by the start of school, if it's not completely gone, it'll be just a couple of parking spaces. The painters put a container down to the east of Building O, kind of in the area by the dumpsters and stuff, but, because they'll need a space to keep their materials while they finish the rest of campus, but if it's not all gone at the start of school, it will just be a couple of spaces, and you'll be able to get through the aisle.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I'm sorry, is there any way we can end this again? It's my fault, because I've got to, okay. I'm just trying to make it so the whole thing shows. Yeah.
It is.
Sorry, Georgina. Yeah.
Want me to pull up that one instead?
Yeah, if you would. Thank you. My apologies. So this is Mary Farmer, this first one, and it is the presentation. So last year, late April, early May, we had meetings at both Mary Farmer and Joe Henderson. And we do this with them, with all of our sites, once every year or two. We try to do every year, sometimes it's every 2 years, but meet with them, and then we gather input, you know, make adjustments, and then talk about where we're going and how we get there. I'll try to just kind of talk through it. I didn't print it all, so why they get there. But so we start out on Mary Farmer with an overview of what is our programming and what are we doing. So the overview at all of our sites is targeting 3 classrooms at every grade level, and then you at Mary Farmer, that means replacement of all 14 of the portable buildings with new buildings. It modernizes the main building, and we actually talked about what that means quite a bit with modernization of the main building. We're going to come back and make another presentation to them, and then we'll subsequently come to you guys. But the same time as we're working on the planning for the portable replacement, we are also working on the planning for the main building. And we're going to continue to do things as we can, and they'll both go. But the main building modernization includes scope for flooring upgrades throughout the whole thing, ceiling lighting, cabinetry. There was talk for a need for storage, giving it a sense of updated. So like at the high school, we found some fun things to do. We're having some conversations about the entry at Mary Farmer. Again, we're working right now in schematics, and then we'll go get input and it'll tweak, and we'll bring those to you. And I expect a package that would be kind of similar to what we had for the PAB that we shared with everyone. So we hoping to get some excitement around that and show that work can happen. It's not all gonna be able to happen in one summer. We're gonna have to pick pieces of it, but we're developing the big piece. And then at the same time, we also have the pieces through the phasing for the portable buildings. So the first phase at the portable buildings is the replacement of the upper ones, the 5 buildings on the left. And that would put those at the location of the baseball fields. Well, meaning the Mary Farmer baseball field. It's kind of confusing if someone's listening to it who doesn't know. And that would be phase 1. So before I go on, one thing on each slide that we did with every site is wanting to celebrate. The last item on there in the agenda when we introduce things is that we want to celebrate the work that's been done and just make sure that there's a lot to do and we're going as fast as we can, but we want to celebrate and identify the work that's been done. So items at Mary Farmer include new roofing. They've had some HVAC upgrades. They had student restroom upgrades at the front of the building and also at the staff. They got outdoor shade structures, and I can't read all of that. Sorry, but that's most of it. That's the gist. Let's go ahead and go into some photos. I should have printed these. I'm sorry. Can we go to the next one? So this is the existing site plan, and the buildings that are highlighted in red are the portables that are slated for removal. So that's showing all 14 of them. Go ahead. Thank you. This is the master plan when everything's fully built out. This is what it will look like. So you see the main building there, and we kind of already talked about the upgrades there. One thing that this photo or graphic does is it identifies on the left some of the pop-outs for what does a modernization look like in the existing spaces. So the first picture at the top is a picture, it's actually from the middle school G Wing, which we did, I'm gonna say 2017-18, but that's our same standards that we use. It's what we've done at Joe Henderson TK's, it's our cabinetry, it's our flooring, it's new lighting, new tack board. So that's what those spaces can feel like. The second pop out there on the bottom is furniture. We have a furniture committee that we are returning to. We've got some dates targeted for later this fall to meet, and we're hoping to set a standard and make some movement on furniture. We know there's a big need district-wide. And then the lower pop-out is, they call those nooks, and it's not saying we're buying nooks. The intent is to talk about creating a space, and like maybe that, I'm gonna call it the great room again, because I never know the right word either, the back room that's really large, that we look at, so we're looking at talking about some storage that you put in there, and maybe some little niches that are fun, that are interactive, and maybe something like that in the library spaces, or trying to find a fun element that's interactive, and that maybe starts to set a vision for how that room is a used space, not just a corridor, because it has so much opportunity. So in this master plan on the lower left, you've got new buildings, and then up at the top, you get 6 new TKK buildings. Well, it's 3 and 3. And then the lower right, it would be the last phase, and I'll walk you through all those phases as we go. One thing that we have told all of our sites, and we reinforce it every time we meet, we plan for this process, and our 3 grade levels, 3 buildings, classes at each grade level. But as we go through these phases, if we don't have enrollment that supports it, then we'll reduce the number of buildings as we approach that. So just trying to really manage expectations and bring everyone along with us. Okay. So the next one's an enlargement, but this would be phase 1. And on the left, again, it's talking about what does a building look like, and that is the outside of the middle school buildings, so that people don't think of the portables as we see them today. It's a building that's on a set foundation. You walk in at grade. We have some stone veneer on that one. We're gonna do some things to make them nice. Every classroom won't look the same as the middle school for the fenestration, because we're gonna try to fit them into the site, their scheme and what their site looks like, but similar, well, same quality. I don't want to say similar. It's not like it's going to be less. It's the same or better. So just setting that expectation. Okay. Yes, please, yeah. This one, so it shows the I'm even gonna go, well, okay, here, on this one, you see up at the top some new playground equipment. That actually occurs outside of the new TK classroom that just went up there. And in the master plan of scheme of things, those two classrooms to the right of 14 where the TK is are slated to eventually be remodeled and have bathrooms put in them as well. So this helps to satisfy a need for a younger playground. And then in the middle by the shade structure, you see some gray. The concrete between, right at the exit of the library will be reworked. We've got some slope problems in there that are definitely not compliant. And then on the lower right, you see essentially what's black, and there would be the construction boundaries. So on the right, you have those 9 portables they would remain occupied. The other 5 that are there, essentially all the spaces on campus would stay in their existing place during this phase. You have the lower left, so it's kind of nice we can be on the perimeter of campus because this is definitely like a year-long project. The photos on the left, the first one is a schematic of what that new playground equipment might be, and the one above it, we have some landscaping kind of in the courtyard above the buildings for an outdoor teaching space, showing some trees. Top one is showing a bench. We have some nice benches in the front of the school. When we met with the staff, they said, we'd like some more benches, and we have actually concrete that goes curvilinear that matches the benches, so we'll bring some more. So this shows what would be phase 2B. So at this phase, the people who were in the 5 portables up on top move into their new classrooms, the first phase down on the left, and their buildings are demoed. One thing I didn't point out, phase 2A includes a restroom building for student restrooms that's adjacent to the playground, so it'll give them additional restrooms. It also includes an all-purpose building that could be a flex space, and part of that has staff restrooms in it, part of it has an all-gender restroom, has an IT space, and custodial closet. So back to phase 2B, we've got 6 buildings, 3 TK, 3K. Okay, go to the next one. So this zooms in. These are similar buildings to what Joe Henderson has. Since we have them side by side, we can meet our state requirements, and we also are fitting in a little bit of room for a staff restroom on the outside of 2 of them, and then a storage location. So that'll be a good asset for those teachers in those spaces. On the upper left, the photo shows Joe Henderson. So just again reiterating, this is our standard. This is what those spaces would look like and their finishes. The next one is showing some playground equipment. So between the 2 buildings, they are having some playground equipment. There's a fence that will kind of enclose that, so it's its own space, and you don't, yes. And also that allows egress from the bigger kids coming out of the back of the main building and down into the playground. There's some photos of plants in the garden. We did get some input from site users that they want us to consider some different plants, and so we will look at that and talk about it within the district and back with the site users. And the last one's the garden. We did get, actually, can you flip back to the main master one? We've had different conversations about where the garden goes, and this one right here is showing it just adjacent to the playground, just on the top left of where the shading is, kind of where the new playground equipment is right now. But when we talked with them, they said, no, they want it in the back behind the new 5th grade classroom. So it's between the new path that comes up at the back and then the classrooms. And so that, I think, we were happy to hear that request because it opens up the lawn area there so that as kids come off the playground, they can just play, and the garden, they can go into it as a guided activity. And then this would be phase 3, yep. And so at this phase, if we don't have the projected enrollment that we're planning for, then this is the phase where we would build less buildings. These buildings are targeted for support spaces that are like art and intervention and wellness. It doesn't mean we don't have a space for those. If we don't build all these buildings, it means if we don't have 3 classrooms at every level, they would go into one of those spaces. And so at this phase, the 9 buildings that are there get demolished. Everybody is in their other spaces. We are short 2 classrooms at this space, less than what we have, projected for 3 at every level. So if we're fully enrolled to that level, then we would bring in 2 temporary classrooms and just sit them on the edge of the playground by the new on the left while this is in construction. I don't think that's gonna happen. We have the utility step-ups as part of it, as planning, so that if we do need to, they're there. But just to let you know, if somebody does the counting, well, you don't have the 3 at every level at this stage. It's because we can get there. We've made a backup plan. More pictures of landscaping. And is that the end of it? And then this last part. So these are some possible exterior elevations. The color rendering's a little bit off, but we're working with ideas that would pick up some of the blues of the blue trim. We could do either stone or possibly some of the wood that might tie into our new wood fencing around the perimeter. And so these, we haven't completely refined it, but these are some of the things that we're looking at. And then this last one was sharing out with them where are we going? And this was in April and May. And so when I reviewed these today, well, it was before today when I put them into the board agenda, but I was like, I'm so happy to say that we said we're going to do this in the summer and that we got that done and we did that. So that's fun. Summer 2027, we list there everything that we're talking about for the main building, but it also gives the caveat that we can't build all that in a summer. So we'll break out chunks and pieces. I don't have those exact ones identified yet, but we'll get them identified and share that out with everyone. And I'll work with, definitely work with the admin and within the DO and even maintenance to find out, their biggest concerns. And that's how we prioritize where we'll pull the trigger first, and also what's going on elsewhere on site so we can coordinate it all together. It's showing Mary Farmer Modernization Phase 2A, that it would be bid in 2027 and completed in 2028. And then 2B and 2C, I expect that we're going to be in planning and moving right along. So as soon as one phase is done, we're bidding and going right into the next one. So that's Mary Farmer.
Question. Can you remind me why modulars and why not just
Site build.
permanent structure?
Yeah. A big advantage is that they can be built off-site, so noise to all the site users and just the timeline to be able to get it installed and put it there. We're able to, can remodel them in 20 years, you know what I mean? So lifespan, as long as you take care of it and renovate it or do whatever you do, you're gonna get a pretty good lifespan out of it still. So it's because our sites are so restricted and construction is so hard to do on them. So it really helps us to minimize the impact on all the site users.
Do you mean restricted because of just it being a school? Or do you mean like fencing and getting into it?
Even noise, we have noise with construction no matter what, but if you're out there site hammering in, doing all your framing, doing all that stuff, it's a lot more, yeah.
Couldn't get done in a summer.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So less gets done over the summer as a result, right? We forget that our summer is not Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? And so we have about 50 days really to do a project. And so by building off-site, it's just much more efficient. And then you're bringing in with cranes and setting things in place, right? And I want to be really, really abundantly clear, they're not portables, they're modular. And so you're getting the same structure, you're getting the same sound structure and the same thickness and all those types of things, and then putting it in place. So in my prior life, that's what we did at 5 of the 7 schools that we built. And one was a portable city, the rest were all modulars, and then the last one that they built was stick, and it just takes so much longer.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? And that is, these modular classrooms, are they brand new or are they refurbished?
No, they're all brand new. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing that would be refurbished is if we have to do those 2 that I talked about that are temporary interim housing. Everything that's part of the permanent plan is brand new. It's just if we have a flux and we need those 2 classrooms during that last phase, we would bring in refurbished ones, probably from the middle school. So we're not buying them, and then we would take them away when they're done. They would not stay on site. Everything there is brand new.
So the other question I have is, clearly, teachers are moving classrooms. What kind of help will they get moving all their stuff? I assume that maintenance and operations would be moving the furniture, but as we know, teachers have lots of manuals and books for kids to read, et cetera, et cetera. What is the plan to help them when they need to move?
Yeah, it's a great question. I need to go back to the contract and take a look at that and see what we have in there. Certainly, we will look at that and work with our union reps to figure that piece out. I know it's expected to pack up and wait, and then move in, especially when we all know it's gonna be the last month of this project, so we take a look at it.
Yeah.
True, I understand.
We would support that work, absolutely.
Okay, and then moving back.
Yep,
You
that's right.
know,
That's
okay,
right. Yep.
so I'll look forward to hearing the answer to that question.
I have one question. Just broadly speaking, Benicia may go through a real housing boom in the next 10 years or so. Do any of our Measure C projects, are we accounting for that, or is it just too far away? Like, are we able to take that into consideration as we do these big?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so one of the things that we're working with the city and with Signature on is to get a demographic study, right? Because what we need to know is what age are those students going to move in? And one of the things that we've talked about with Signature is we know that that's going to be a 20 to 25-year project, right? It's going to be over time. We know it's going to take them a few years to get in there and start things going, right? And then the question is, what are they going to build first? And is that more affordable or not? And then who is more likely to move in, right? Right now, the folks that move into Benicia seem to have a TKer and a freshman. If we could promote fourth grade, we would. And so, but no one's moving in with a middle schooler, or very few are moving with middle schoolers or a fourth grader, right? And so what happens is that over time, that will change in a development, right? Because you'll start to see home sales in that development of new homes, but also folks moving out as they've lived there for 3, 5, 10 years, right? And so you get a change in that demographic as a result. And so that's the projection that we need to know. And then the same is true for the Rose development too. And that one I think is going to be tied up for a while. And so we'll see what happens there.
Thank you, Chris. One thing too to add, like at Mary Farmer in the layout, we have been thoughtful if we needed to add buildings, they could easily fit in what we have there. Some schools are harder than others. Matthew Turner might be harder. I mean, you could expand out onto the playground, but then you lose some of your playground. Joe Henderson's got some space, definitely. So where we can, we're being thoughtful, like if we had to add future classrooms, would they fit in there? And mostly yes, but some sites are definitely, will be harder than others. Robert Semple in our master modernization could easily expand. Like I said, Matthew Turner is more confined, yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Do we want to go on to Joe Henderson? Okay. Yes, I know, sorry. we could pass if you'd like. So, yeah, I'm sorry, there's a lot on here tonight. Joe Henderson. So this is a meeting that we had in April with the community user groups. This is our master plan as we have for every site. And it really just kind of walks through things. So one thing I want to say about our master plans, if we can maybe go ahead and go to the next one. Well, I'll walk through these one at a time. So this was the agenda we shared. We talked about that we're going to talk about school frontage upgrades, parking lot upgrades, classroom and learning spaces upgrades, playground, classroom courtyards, field upgrades, building demodernization and playground, and then timelines. And we wanted here to also celebrate what the work that's been completed. They have a new TK classroom and playground. They have new NPR roofing, and now they have new roofing almost everywhere. They have HVAC upgrades. The list is not extensive because I tried to not put everything from Measure S on there, but so that was great to be able to celebrate that. This next sheet is a comprehensive master plan. So we, in 2015, created a committee and we developed a master plan for the district. And this is a living document. We have it for all of our sites. Since 2015, as we meet with people, we get input, situations change, state requires new TK classrooms, right? And so these get updated and changed, and that comes out of our meetings that we have annually and biannually. The items on here that are identified, one is roofing, and that's been mostly all completed except Building E, which will happen at some time. It does not show roofing on Building F because that will be removed. It shows new TK building, which is complete. It shows the 4 new buildings that will be in the vicinity of the existing F wing. Fields upgrades and the playground upgrades, and then also just the modernization to the main building, which would be similar to what we're talking about at other sites. So this kind of is guiding us as we walk through this. So the next conversation is going to go through the frontage, which there's been a lot of conversations about gates and beautification for the front of the school. And then if you look to the left, you can see the right dotted line, and that's identifying some fencing over adjacent to the TK playground. And then up against Building D, we also have fencing back there. So we wanted to go through some graphics and show you how does that all tie in, so that it doesn't seem that the frontage fencing is just standing there alone. This slide is kind of out of place, but we also have had a traffic engineer on board. This shows his recommendations, which are to add 2 crosswalks in the street, as well as 2 on the site. We can dive into details with that. I can share as much as I can, but I gotta say, I'm not a traffic engineer. I feel like it would be more holistic to walk through the whole thing and come back if you wanna talk more about that. So this first frontage, this shows the existing as it was about maybe 6 months ago. And then this next photo shows a design that uses a metal decorative fencing, and the pieces in the fence kind of replicate the leaves on the trees. It shows a new marquee, and it's tying into that existing Joe Henderson monument. The white that is used on the marquee, and there's also some little pop-outs on each end just for accent. Those would match the plaster of the building, so you were tying in with similar colors.
Can I ask a question about
Sure.
the digital marquee?
Yeah.
So maybe you can help orient me to, so there's, the fence is there, beautiful fence, but it looks to me, and I might be wrong, maybe I'm seeing it incorrectly. It looks to me like the marquee is behind the fence, because I see the cars.
I think
So do you,
it's funny. I talked with the design team about this. I think that this graphic is a bit of a illusion because you think that it's mirrored or backwards, but I think the vehicles are in the drive-through lane and the trees are back behind it, and then to the right is the road. But so just to clarify, the intent is that the marquee would definitely be on the side that faces the street. It would not be behind the fence. But yeah, I know,
Okay.
when you look at it, it's kind of
I know, it's like,
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
thank you for clarifying for me.
Sure. This next piece of it shows the parking lot. There's a couple slides here that show a lot of detail, so I'm gonna kind of roll past this one and go into some of the other ones because they show some similar stuff. So the next slide shows a comparison between their existing parking lot and proposed. We did look at some options of, well, what if we try to add, how can we step back and say they need more parking, they need better circulation? Can we look at all of the options? We did look at in the drive-through, if you tried to take away some grass and made a little parking inlet, maybe with some 45-degree parking, we only gained, I'm gonna say like 1 space, and there was a lot of concern that it would be backing up into the drop-off lane and that it would be a hazard. So it was felt that that was not enough gain for the detriment. With this layout, they have 35 spaces existing. They would get 51 new spaces. And so they moved the drop-off lane from where it is, and they're able to add double-sided parking. When we reviewed this with staff, we went through a couple iterations, but they were okay with this. It was important to them to be able to see the kids walking down out of the office and getting into the buses on the loading zone. But they felt that they could still do that. This moves the garbage bins up towards the street, which is good. And then you're gaining 16 parking spaces. So that's a pretty substantial gain from 35 to gain 16, close to 50% more.
Will that accommodate all staff at Joe Henderson, plus visiting?
So
plus
that's
visitors?
a really hard question. We did comparisons and looked, and honestly, it's been a little while. I can't remember the numbers because they have so many people who come visit for part of the day and not all day, and then they have, so it really is it's a hard number to hit. I would have to go back and look at the numbers. I can't remember for sure, but yeah.
Maybe you're going to talk about this on the next slide.
Okay.
But can you walk me through then where, like, is that the sidewalk is that D?
Yeah.
And then is this the drop-off line? What does that mean? Is that then going back?
Can you go to the next one, please?
Yeah. Talk me through that.
Thank you. So the new sidewalk up there up by Building D, because they have drop-off there in the mornings. And then on the gates,
That would be CDU.
yeah. And it could be daycare, it could be TK, whatever, because we're planning to put restrooms in D. But so that would replicate on that side, the gates. And so that's what that is. It's just a space to allow them to go enter. It's a walkway. So they've got vehicular parking for drop-off. You've got a sidewalk in front of it that they can walk into the entry, and then you're walking into that.
Are there a lot of cars doing the drop-off in this staff lot?
Only CDU. Yeah, and they come in at different times. I mean, they start at 6. I think that most of them, we had our traffic engineer look at it. I don't know the exact numbers, but most of them are coming in and out, and I don't think that they're typically at the same time as drop-off and pick-up.
The traffic report did break it down every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it said, but it was a pretty extensive traffic report.
Okay. At 7:45 was where it made a lot of the traffic.
Is that staff is probably there by 7:45.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, security for staff cars, other cars driving in. Can this handle that?
They do right now, and I don't think they have any problems with it. So this would actually be an improvement over what they have. But one thing too, as we talk about traffic and changes, like at Mary Farmer, we had a lot of changes in the traffic, and we had the traffic engineer return afterwards, and we tweaked things. We were able to add a lane going up the hill, because traffic changes. It's like you change a few things, and everyone's patterns change, because they just want to make advantage of it, right? And so they change their habits, and then you got to go back and reevaluate and kind of keep tweaking it. Yeah.
I don't want to, in case you're going to talk about it somewhere else in the presentation, but I think the overall traffic is something, just even when you went, I know you're going to come back to it, so tell me, I can stop talking, but slide 18, with the new crosswalks, the new suggestions, I mean, it is, I have a lot of concerns about that. And so I can talk about it now, or I can wait until you finish the presentation.
If it's okay, let's go,
Yep.
unless if you want to. I mean,
Nope.
yeah, I think that'll be more, I think we're going to keep gathering information as we go through this, and then we'll come back and definitely
Perfect.
talk about as much as you want, yep. So this shows so if we think about the graphic of the fence in the front, and then looking at the right, and how does the site all tie in? So this shows the entry as it exists today into the TK playground. And then this shows, and so as we look at all of these, just know the colors, sometimes the rendering is a little bit off, but they all would be the same as far as the color of stucco. They all would match the existing building and the front fence monument. But this shows taking that playground and adding some stucco walls for fence, and then interspersing them with some of the decorative metal fencing. And if we go to the next slide, it shows where, so you wrap in the corner. This is where the TK kids come in, same as they do right now. Gives them a little bit more of the entry. The staff saw the cover at the D building. They're like, we want a little cover at our entry. So kind of fun. It's also showing the Joe Henderson logo, which that would be painted on there. I know that sometimes our logos change, and so you could always paint a new one up there if they morphed into something different, or if we don't want it to be a logo, that's totally fine too, and we can put letters, whatever everybody wants is totally good. So then this goes on to the D building and the existing conditions, which is slats in a chain link fence. And so then if we say, how does that theme go around our site? So this next photo shows similar walls to would be over by the TK playground entry and similar fencing. And then this is your entry into the D building area. Thank you. This is a lot of minutia. I'm going to give you an overview, and we can jump in as much as you want. But it's giving playground upgrades. So there's new shade, and there's detail on future ones. But there's new shade structures. We've got new striping on the playground. We've got fields, planting, and upgrades to the main building. And then it's showing Phase D upgrades, and then the last phase being 4 new buildings, which that may not be the last phase if we need those buildings before we do D. So all of those phases could shift. So this is showing the playground. One thing I will point out on here is that when we met with the site users, there was a lot of desire for upgraded bathrooms, which is part of our district master plan and was part of our Measure C goals. And so between wings A and B and B and C, you see those little white triangles, and those are courtyards, and there's also student restrooms. And so we are planning to upgrade those student restrooms. There also was discussion specifically within the main building of the restrooms adjacent to the MPR. We're trying to add those in sooner than later and looking for opportunities to reconfigure them to get more there. I don't know if it's possible or not, but we're looking at it. And then those 2 little courtyards that are adjacent to the restrooms, we're also looking at some upgrades. So we'll give you some more information on that on the next slide.
Really quick, one of our challenges is that our TKers are younger, so accessing bathrooms is harder. And so imagine a 3-year-old about to turn 4 trying to open the door, it's designed for a 7-year-old. Right. And so Roxanne and Alfredo are exploring how we can reconfigure it and unlock the door.
I thought TK had to have their own bathrooms.
This is at lunchtime, so they go back to the room, right, in
Oh.
the NPR room, and, you know.
I know, because those toilets that Alfredo showed us, I mean, they were tiny. They were really tiny. But, oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. So that's in the mix. We're working on it. These next 2 slides, there would be a new playground in the upper left-hand side because one of their playgrounds is going to go away when we put in the new F buildings. So this is a schematic of what that playground could include. Before we really finalize it, we will definitely get input from the site users. And we're also looking at equity between sites. Every site doesn't have to have the exact same playground, but trying to make sure that we're doing similar amenities for them. The next one would be the lower ones, which is adjacent to the E-wing. It's due for some upgrades. Go ahead, please. This is showing the shade structure, so we would have it out in the middle. Well, it's just adjacent to the building by the B-wing. And then also, the one on the upper side, most of our shade structures where we can, we're trying to duplicate what we did at Mary Farmer. The lower one occurs on the right-hand side of the playground on the adjacent to the E-wing. So you're getting shade from the southern sun, and it will hit that, and those cantilever over the playground.
Roxanne, can I ask you what material it's made out of?
I don't know the exact answer to that, but it's the nylon material, the same as is at Mary Farmer. So but it has like a 25-year warranty. They're like the commercial.
That was my next
yes.
question.
They're the commercial grade ones that
Yeah.
last a long time. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. This is showing those courtyards that I was pointing out earlier. They're kind of a wasted space right now, so we were trying to reimagine how they could be. They're kind of small. I don't know if it's really a outdoor teaching space, but maybe it's a pull-out space or something. So this one would be between the B and C wings, and so it's like second and third graders in there. So just looking at maybe some fencing and some not fencing, excuse me, some benches and some artificial turfs. When we met with the site users, they were mostly excited about it. There was a comment about, well, we want to be sure that the teachers aren't concerned about noise outside of them. And we'll certainly have those conversations. And if it's like, maybe it just wants to be artificial turf because it's such a small space, maybe it just wants to be a pathway, but just trying to do something in there. So these will keep developing. And this is the second one, and this is between A and B where you've got smaller kids, and our landscape architect is showing more toys, which granted, those toys aren't gonna fit in that small space, but it's like some concept of like, maybe you have a couple toys out there, but probably not all of those. This is showing field upgrades. That is definitely on the list. And some lighting around the playground.
Do many of our other elementary schools have solar structures on their playground, on their outdoor?
Robert Semple. Yeah, Turner's in the parking lot. And it-
Parking lot, I get. I'm just curious. Like,
Yeah.
if they're just on the field like that. And I'm not saying remove them right now, but just as I think about it. I don't like that up there, to be honest. I don't know, how did the students and the families feel about it?
Sometimes they have lunch underneath it because it's shade.
I was gonna say, that's where the picnic
Yeah,
benches are, right?
yeah.
Okay, it's just.
It's funny because when they went at 3 of the 4 elementary schools and not Mary Farmer, there were rumors that why didn't Mary Farmer get any? So I know, I think it just varies with the day, and yeah. Yep, but it's a good question, yeah. This is showing restroom upgrades, so these are those 2 restrooms adjacent to the rectangles. That's an existing condition. This is showing a new drinking fountain outside that would be ADA compliant. We have new hand wash basins that would match what we have at Robert Semple, new toilet stalls that would match what we have at Robert Semple, and then the finishes in there would match what our other Joe Henderson restroom finishes are with the white tile with the yellow accents.
I love that the doors have their own graffiti.
Creative, right? It gives them some space to do a little interior decorating at young age.
On some of these, the littles, where they have the restrooms or the lower grades, I know, I can't remember which side it was at, but one of them was, the doors, when they were open, you saw too much going in. I just want to make sure that all the restrooms are being evaluated with that thought.
Oh, yeah, we do. These ones are really good with sight vision walls, because as you walk in the door, you have that sight vision wall. And I do know what you're talking about. It was at Joe Henderson, we actually put up a vision wall to correct it. Yeah, and, yeah, so definitely, yep, need to be aware of that. That's real. This is showing Building D, and if we just roll into the next one, it shows, sorry, can we go to the next? Thank you. So this shows in the middle, having a steam there, and these were kind of programmed with the site users for what they would want in these spaces. And the art classroom on the left, and then the other 4 having restrooms in them, so they could be overflow for TK, daycare. It takes out one of the walls between the 2 classrooms on the lower right. There's been talk since this was done about leaving that in and just making an opening between it so that it could function as 2 classrooms or as 1, depending on what the enrollment and the needs were. It gives you some flexibility. This next one is showing the last phase, well, it may not be the last, maybe the 3rd, for the new F buildings. Let's go ahead and go to the next one, please. It's got more detail. So this the two, F4, 5, 6, 7 would be new classrooms. And then the white building up there to the left of it is a restroom building to serve those, but it would also help to serve the playgrounds. And then outside, you're getting some really nice outdoor learning spaces. And what happens, the space on the lower right, those classrooms in D, it's art and STEAM. So, and I think they might have music in there too, but what a great opportunity that you can take those outside and have a little patio for outdoor learning opportunities. So that's what this is envisioning. We ended up with timelines and questions. So again, talked about giving them in summer 2026, interim fencing, roofing upgrades, and flooring upgrades. So really happy to say that we said we were going to do that, and we did it. We talked about traffic improvements, that it has to come to the board for conversation. The city is definitely involved. We have engaged with the city engineer, and so that's part of the conversation along with the board, of course. And then timelines for next improvements. And so we said 12 to 18 months for some of the improvements at the front if the board wishes us to go forward with them. And then the other ones, I'm going to say 2 to 3 years, not behind the front improvements, but 2 to 3 years behind now. We have to do DSA closeout and bid and a whole bunch of other stuff. But one thing that we're working really hard to do is every summer, maybe it's a smaller project. Well, and some of these things can happen during school, to try to make progress at every school. And it might be small, might not be big, but every summer trying to give everyone something. You're welcome.
I have questions, though. I'm sorry, guys. First, I want to just say that I really do like the building fences. I think those are really nice. I think it really, yeah, attractive, and they match the Mary Farmer look, aesthetic
Yeah.
well, so I really like that. I appreciate that you're looking at the bathrooms, because that's definitely something, in the water fountains, for sure. I have just a pause with the logo, just in terms of consistency, consistency with logos on our other schools. I know our other schools in the front, there's like lettering, of the school, not necessarily the logo. So I would just, urge us to look at that, to be consistent. If it's done in the back or whatever, I think that's great, but just forward facing. And then, of course, I just want to talk through the traffic in the front of the school. Experiencing that for years, it's, there's a lot of congestion, there's a lot of people coming and a lot of cars going everywhere. And I don't know, if this is cost prohibitive, but, is there an opportunity for us to just take a step back and say, can we just look at the front of the school holistically? Can we think about eliminating the island? I don't know what else to call that, Roxanne, but.
No, that's fine.
The island there, and thinking about what is going to be the best way to ensure that our students get to school and leave school safely. And so is that the opportunity that maybe we should be looking at, instead of just dealing with what we have?
We did, short answer is yes, we can absolutely go look at some more opportunities. I will say, I did challenge the design team, and I told them we need to look at everything, and we ran through probably 4 or 5 gyrations. And then in conversations with the traffic engineer as well, because we were like, well, what if we just take parking out of the drive-through? Does that help? But it doesn't, because you need the lane, you have to be closest to the sidewalk, or you're sending students through traffic, which is dangerous. And they only need the one lane to pull out. And so since staff gets there early, and when they park on that inside part, it's no harm to your traffic roll through. So I did charge them, and we pressed through, but we can absolutely go back and look at it again.
Yeah, just in my opinion, I just think that this is, it's not going to help.
One thing, if it would be helpful as well, we can look at options, but I could also bring back the traffic engineer and have him, because traffic is such of an expert thing. It's so, like, you count the numbers, you know what I mean? And I know that all of us experience it every day, and we get the frustration with it, but the science of the study is very particular, and it's certainly not my expertise. But I would be happy if you guys would like, we can go look at some other, see if we can brainstorm and find anything else, if there's ways that helps. Off the top of my head, I don't know that it does, but we will look, and I can certainly bring some of that back along with the traffic engineer to talk to it. Part of it too, just to, well, I don't want to say like, throw our hands up, we don't have a choice, we're not going to do anything. That's not our approach or attitude, but we do, the city over what goes into the right-of-way, it's really their domain. And so when we looked at it, we were initially like, three-way stop there. Hey, people stop doing the U-turns up at Sweetbriar or whatever the street up north of there is. And it changes all that. Like the three-way stop at Mary Farmer was huge. Their study doesn't support it. When we went to the city said, I mean, and we've championed and tried to get it. I feel like that would be, they have said, well, when you put that crosswalk there, you're going to have people crossing, and every time that crosswalk's on during drop-off and pickup, which will be quite a bit, people can turn left. So it is going to ease that left-hand turn. You're going to get out left more often, which is going to make less people up at Sweetbriar doing U-turns. And then there was talk about, do you take out the Sweetbriar crosswalks, which honestly is a city decision at that point with their engineer. But our engineer did talk with the city engineer, and the city is interested in supporting the improvements in the street, and they're including them in their grant applications for the, rebuild, I can never say it. Yeah.
I wonder, I don't know if this is, but, I wonder if it's worth, I'm willing to go, like myself and another board member with you, Chris, and just maybe walk it, or, do we meet an engineer there to talk through some things? I'm willing to say, but, even when you think about when you make a left, I'm looking at the picture that you have with the potential crosswalks, like, you're still entering potentially another crosswalk on the other side. So does that really save traffic? I'm not convinced about that. And then at that point, there's so many roadblocks, and you're getting people frustrated in their car. I mean, it's.
I do.
There's a lot.
It's really hard. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm a little confused myself, because with the new crosswalks, and, which I think are needed, but if the cars are coming in, and there are a lot of cars coming in to pick up kids, so instead of only being able to turn right, you'll be able to turn left and right, is that correct? So where is the crosswalk across Hastings?
It's right at the exit of the drive of your drop-off.
So then kids crossing, that's gonna hold up traffic movement.
It's going to hold up traffic turning right, but traffic turning left will be able to get out.
Until you get to the other.
The two crosswalks are not timed on the same timer, so it would only stop you at the second one if there were people in both crosswalks, and if the crosswalk guards. You would have crosswalk guards there, the same as we do, like at Mary Farmer, who take them across in the morning.
And
Yeah.
that is something that I just want to emphasize more. We need people there. We need people in front of the school. We need people helping our students. We need people helping our families. And I think that is, and that was even in the traffic report, or the engineer's report,
Yeah.
sorry, that people, supervision.
Yeah, and it was brought up in the meeting with the community about having two crosswalks, and well, couldn't that slow it down? The engineer felt, and I'll let him speak to it, I don't want to, like, again, it's not my, but he felt like you could even consider striping between the two crosswalks, and you're just really making a calming zone, and that the second one, if it wasn't used, it's not going to slow them down, but when you approach that and see, you're going to slow down, and that even though people aren't driving faster, they might get out faster because maybe everybody's more orderly. I think it's really hard, and I don't know that there's a perfect example or solution to it.
So it sounds like next steps here, and I want to make sure we're clear on goals. So our goals here is to keep students and families safe. Is there we're always going to have traffic at schools 3 times a day at an elementary school, right? Before school, our pickup for the primaries and our pickup for our upper elementary, right? But making that pickup loop more efficient, right, is part of the challenge. And so, yeah, I think we could walk the site. Maybe we bring our traffic engineer out there, or maybe we meet with the city and walk it with them and talk together and explore this. Would you call it the island? I like that because I called it the grassy knoll and I totally confused Roxanne. So I like the island a lot better. You know, there's an opportunity. And the piece that keeps sitting in the back of my head is we add 2 to 3 classrooms, 4 classrooms onto that campus, right? And now you have potentially 100 more students, then what, right? Or 80 more students, then what? And so, but I think a discussion with the city, with their plans, because some of the things that they applied for with the repair grant, would lend itself to this discussion to help us really figure this out. So why don't we bring this back, set up some dates, and then, and at the same time, though, I'm also hearing that we should have Roxanne explore with the design engineers some other concepts. And so maybe those happen simultaneously. Maybe we wait till we have the conversations with the city and the traffic engineer, and then go to explore it further.
You know, I'd like to walk this as well, because we have crosswalks across both sides of the driveway, the entrance and the exit. And then we have crosswalks going across Hastings. And I can't, so sometimes there's a frustration level with drivers. And I, you know, I suspect that the crowding would, I'd really like to walk it, because it seems like a traffic jam on Hastings 3 times a day. You know, because
Yep.
if you go these, I don't see it up there, but here, 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 and here. Anyway,
Yeah, let's walk it.
board field trip.
It sounds like 2 board members are going on a field trip with Roxanne and I in the city. If we do third, we'll be in violation of the Brown Act unless we agendize it, so.
That's right.
And then, you know, I'm not a traffic engineer. I was an elementary principal for 9 years, and I'm not convinced putting 3 crosswalks or 4 crosswalks is the best idea. I think it would present challenges. And so, and I was also principal of a school that went from, I was VP of a school that went from 600 to 900 and had 2 pickup loops and its own TK loop, and it was disastrous. You know? So,
A lot of people.
You know,
yeah.
it's so tricky. It just seems
No,
so,
it is.
so tricky. I read the engineer's report pretty carefully, and looking at the pictures, I was just like, but, yeah, so thank you for arranging that, Roxanne.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
And there's just one other thing, I
Sure.
know I've mentioned this before, but if we're gonna have kids in between, building D and new building F, that's this little corner, there's a pedestrian path that goes all the way around the school. And I walk that path sometimes, and I get very, very, very concerned about safety and that fence, and it's just a chain link fence, and we don't have good visibility of who's back there. And then as you get towards the outer edge of the field, it goes up, so whoever's up on that path can look down into the playground. And I'd really like to see if we can think about security, along the perimeter. I know this is an issue at all of our schools, but here, given the low visibility of that path, and that it's just this little narrow path that goes along the back, it really makes me nervous. I'd really like to see if we can.
That fence is kind of in disrepair, and right now what we had talked about is replacing it with black chain link fencing. That was the 1-inch mesh, so it's a lot less visible through it. But in the conversation, it's also a really difficult one that I don't think has a perfect answer for no matter what you do, because if it's solid, some people say, I at least want a hint if someone's out there that I should be aware of. And so trying to find the middle line with the 1-inch mesh, it is much harder to climb or get through. And just to do a new one that would be not in disrepair.
Yeah, my mic is not right tonight. At first I didn't think you could hear me, but now you can hear me. Yeah, I'd really like to look at some of those options because as it is currently, I think there's a definite opportunity for us to look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The city manager and I have talked about this, and then I think we also had the discussion about whose fence is it. And so, yeah, we did, and so it's a mutual conversation, but we both want to see some improvements there and talked about that. We were trying to write that, I probably shouldn't put this on public record, but we were trying to figure out, could we write that in the joint grant for the repair grant? Because we did write a grant jointly for Joe Henderson and for the middle school, but we couldn't justify a Bay Area air quality management district to include a fence.
Put an air monitor on it.
No comment.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. Okay, so now we come to item number 12B, and Trudy Barrington, it is your turn.
All right. Well, good evening again. I'm here before you tonight to give you an update on our district budget that you adopted back in June. In our cycle here, we're at the 45-day revise, which means when the governor signs the budget, depending upon the impact to the district, within 45 days, you're supposed to report out to the public the impact of it. It doesn't mean you get the whole stack of forms, you're not redoing the whole budget, but you need to know the impact of what actually made it into the final budget. So, this is what we legally have to do. You adopted the budget by July 1st, and now, because the budget was signed on June 29th, today, yay, August 13th is day 45. So this is the legal requirement. Before we talk about the few things that did make it into the budget that we didn't talk about as much, I wanted to provide you with an update of where our enrollment is. And the caveat here is, this is data as of 8/5, so that it made the public packet. We've gone up, we could go down. We'll know more next week when we get to see all of our tiny and not so tiny humans come back and join us. In the budget was 4,267 students. And what we did is we looked at cohorting each grade level up and then looking at K, 6th, and 9th, where we require renewal of IDAs. Knowing that our neighboring school district was implementing different changes, what impact could that have? And so what you can see is, those are the exact grades that we have increases from what we expected. We have more kindergartners than we projected, and let's just note that the birth rate is actually under 200 for the kids who are 5 this year. So we've had families move in, and we are still a desirable district with IDAs. 6th grade, we did see more students, even cohorting the students up. We have more 6th graders than we projected. And 9th grade, it's still a smaller class, but it's not as small. So this is where we were at last Friday. We've made some staffing adjustments to handle this. We're gonna know more next week at where we're at. We are still lower than 25-26 because we had 4,405 students on CalPADS Day, which, just a reminder to you and everybody listening, because this year's enrollment is projected lower and still at likely the same ADA percentage, we're being held harmless and being funded on last year's ADA. So while we have more students, unless they attend better than the larger number of students we had last year, we will not have additional revenue to show in the budget. What this does help us look at is, how much is our decline moving into next year and the year after and the year after that. On the right-hand side is a graph. And Trustee Manassi and I have talked about this. It has some different colored lines. One shows you the enrollment trend, the blue. Orange shows you the ADA, like actual attendance of those blue line kids. And gray shows you how the state funded us. So in those areas where the orange line is significantly lower than the gray, very beneficial to us, allowed us the time to adjust our budget for the students we actually have. When you see them meet, that's because we had greater ADA in that current year than in the prior. And then you can see in the 26-27, our ADA looks like it's gonna be lower, because that's the best we can project at this time, and we have consistently been at around 94.5% attendance. We will be funded on the 25-26. About $500,000 when we get attendance up 1%. So we do understand. Are there questions about that graph? Does it provide information to you so that you understand how our enrollment in ADA is impacting us?
Appreciate you walking that through.
So what's different when the state adopted the budget? Nothing really. We knew at the May revise that the super COLA was going to happen. The 2.87% is the COLA. We have a super COLA that gives us an additional 1.44% for items such as the paid pregnancy disability leave that we have been told the districts will now take on. At the time of budget, we did talk about the one-time block grant, kind of the mechanism that the state is using, because there are dollars that should come to the district under Prop 98, but they're coming as one-time. So the one-time revenue was in the budget. What's not currently reflected is expenditures against that one-time money. One thing that did come out of the state-adopted budget is if you're a district in declining enrollment, you get to hold a public hearing where you talk about how you're going to address the declining enrollment and the fiscal impact, and if the fiscal impact in a district would result in school closures. So we're not going to need to talk about school closures, but we will have to have the public hearing around how we're going to handle the declining enrollment.
When do we have to have that? It's years from now, like next fiscal year, or?
We don't have the guidance quite yet, but the ability to start spending the money is now, and then it goes for a number of years through 2030, 2031.
Got it.
I don't remember the end date exactly.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time.
Yes, before we have to make sure that we have that established. And as CDE releases the guidance, then we'll work together and we'll present that to you. The other additional funding that we weren't aware of at May Revise and wasn't in our budget is funding for reading difficulty risk screening. So we had professional development money to train our staff on the new reader. This would be to buy the new readers. We don't know how we're gonna get it, what it's gonna require. It could be $35.75 per K-2 ADA, but as soon as we know, I'll bring it back and present it to you. Hopefully by first interim, we know a whole lot more about these funding sources. So our next steps, the business office is actively closing the books. Did I mention Chris starts Monday? Yay! He will be a great asset. We're also closely monitoring our enrollment in our ADA, so we'll have some more updates as we go on. And then in December, you will get the first interim report, and then the unaudited actuals come to you in September, and the actual audit report you'll see in January. Do you have any questions on the update? Go back one.
I do. When is the date that you take the students' bodies in seats? Is that?
The official
Yes, the
official date
official
that the
date.
state of California captures is the first Wednesday in October.
All righty.
That's when it's officially counted, it's uploaded through CalPads, and it's set in stone forever that that was your districts. That's how we can say for 25, 26, we had 4,405 students. We had lower than that, higher than that, lower than that, higher than that, all year long, but that's the point in time that it's captured.
So Trudy, what is the process now? I understand that if a kid, that we don't get funding for excused absences anymore, is that correct?
That is correct.
Any sense that, what's happening with enrollment versus attendance?
So in our district, we really haven't seen a trend difference in the last 3 years. I know in like 21, 22, like after we came out of COVID, our attendance rate in the district was in the low 90s, 91, 92, and the district worked really hard prior to me bringing that up. We've kind of stayed in the 94.5, 94.6 range. We had been closer to 96 at times prior to the COVID
I was
closures.
thinking more of the state,
The state,
the legislature. What's,
they're
they're
a whole
fighting about
study
it.
came forward, like it would be better to fund on enrollment because you can plan for that. And then the legislative analyst office said, we don't really see there to be much of a change and an impact, and then it didn't get traction again. So we remain a large state along with Texas, the other large state that's funded on ADA. Funded on ADA, not enrollment. So you staff for the number of kids you have enrolled, and you get funded for the number of kids that come to school each day.
All righty, thank you. Yes. Does anybody have any questions for Trudy? No, thank you. Thank you, Trudy. Okay, we come to item 13, action items. So, Catherine, you are up.
So much. Good evening, President Grubbs, Trustees, Superintendent Calabrese, and Venetia community. The item before you tonight is the approval of a 3-year memorandum of understanding between the Solano County Office of Education and the Venetia Unified School District. Through this partnership, SCOE will provide graduate-level marriage and family therapists and social work interns to be able to support our students and families. The services are going to include both individual and group counseling, family support, as well as targeted case management in collaboration with our existing school staff. The MOU describes that they're going to provide support related to our California Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, also known as CIBE. CIBE, for those of you who aren't aware, is a statewide effort focused on expanding access to behavioral health and mental health services for our children and youth. For BUSD, SCOE is going to help us to build the systems needed to be able to support this work, including the training, documentation, billing readiness, compliance, and ongoing technical assistance. This is really important for us because not only does it help us expand mental health support for our students, but it helps us to create a really sustainable system to provide services over time for our students. And it's just really important to note that this MOU has no associated costs to the district nor to our students or families. And so our staff is recommending approval of the MOU between SCOE and BUSD as presented.
Are there any questions?
Did I read in here that there was going to be billing?
Yes, you are correct. And so CIBE allows the district to be able to bill private insurance and medical insurance with permission, of course, from families and at no cost or raise to premiums to our families.
And then do we receive some of those
We
funds?
certainly do. And so we see this as a really amazing opportunity to potentially bring some revenue to be able to expand programming for our students.
Do they work with you in terms of like how many come and?
Absolutely, yes. So we have a school psychologist, Dr. Andrew Potter, who's supporting in this work, and he and I are working really closely together to be able to create the infrastructure as well as the support. And we've got not only our clinical interns, but as well as our school psychologists, and potentially also our wellness coaches at the elementary that we're going to support in creating some billing. So we're going to take it slow because we want to make sure that the infrastructure is set up correctly. But we do believe that once we get it up and going, that there's a lot of potential there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the MOU between the Solano County Office of Education and BUSD to provide the intern clinical services.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. And now we come to item B, consideration and approval of memorandum of understanding between California School Employees Association, CSEA, and Benicia Unified School District, and Dr. Wisely.
Good evening again, Board. This MOU adjusts the work schedule for a child care permit teacher at Robert Semple, and the adjustment is necessary to better align with the program needs. Staff recommends a motion for approval.
Discussion.
You go first, Mark.
So this was bargained with CSEA?
That's correct.
I just had a question about the hours. So if the hours are 8, but they have an unpaid lunch, is that right? So 6:30 to 8 and 12 to 6:30? How does that equal to 7.5? Or am I wrong? Is that 7.5? The new schedule has a total of 8 working hours, but we're saying that it's including a 30-minute unpaid lunch, totaling 7.5.
Sorry, Board, I'm taking a look at this. Give me just a moment.
I had to add up the hours several times.
I'm reading it correctly, and if I'm doing my math right, 6:30 to 8 is an hour and a half, correct?
Yes.
And 12 to 6:30 is 6.5 hours. So 6.5 hours
Is your mic on? Sorry.
is 8 hours total. And it says including a 30-minute unpaid lunch,
But that's how they get the 7.5.
Yeah,
because it says including a 30-minute.
that math is correct.
Okay. It's the word including really more important than the math part of it, but the math works.
Except it's unpaid.
Yeah, that's what makes it 7.5 hours.
I see, right.
Okay.
The wording got me.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
And Dr. Wisely, you are up for a while now, so,
Do we have to approve that, though?
oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, we have to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU between CSEA and BUSD.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. And item C.
All right, thank you so much, Board. Moving along, we have several MOUs on the table from universities to support our students. This particular MOU is with Point Loma Nazarene University, and it's for field placement and support of student teachers, internships, and this helps us better recruit and retain highly qualified teachers. So staff recommends approval of this MOU.
Any questions, discussion?
I just wanted to say holistically that I think it's great that we're partnering with these universities, and hopefully we're also partners with our local universities too. So, in addition to the ones that are down in Southern California. Great.
What's happening actually is that we're expanding our universities, because we've always partnered with our local universities, and so it's really wonderful to see a broader scope here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point Loma also does a lot of online. People aren't actually going down there. I got my APE from there, and it was all online.
So any more discussion, or? Okay.
I move that we approve the MOU with Point Loma Nazarene Teacher Credentialing Program.
I'll second.
Aye.
We come to 13D, and Dr. Wisely's going to be up for a while.
Back again, board. Thank you so much. So this MOU is with Concordia University, Irvine Teacher Credentialing Program. And this is a range of teacher credential candidates from multiple subjects, single subject, also special education, which is very important, school counseling, and school psychology, which can be challenging to recruit for. So staff recommends approval of this MOU.
Lizzie, does this include speech pathologists?
Yeah, so this particular one didn't have speech and language pathologists. I have one coming up for Pepperdine that,
Oh, that's what
and that'll be a new MOU. Dr. Jennings did a great job in the past of building a good bank of partnerships with universities. So the future one coming up here in the agenda will address the SLPs.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have a motion? Did we already move, or are we up on something else?
I'll move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with Concordia University for the placement of interns in Benicia Unified.
And I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, I'm back again, board. We're almost there. We're doing great.
You can just roll on with it, really.
The MOU establishes a clinical practice agreement between Sonoma State University and the district. This partnership aims to provide supervised field work, student teaching, school counseling, and intern opportunities for candidates. And again, another partnership for credential candidates. So we, urge the board to approve this MOU.
Is there discussion? Okay, a motion?
I'll make a motion
No, go ahead.
to approve the MOU with Sonoma State University for the teacher credentialing program. Am I right?
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You can just roll.
I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. This one, F is consideration and approval of an MOU with the Teachers Association for drumline and color guard stipends, supported by our Prop 28 funding, arts, music, and in schools funding guarantee and accountability act. This funding we know helps to strengthen arts in schools, and our teacher leads and principals have weighed in on the needs at their specific sites. And we've worked collaboratively with the unions to establish, with the union BTA, to establish this year's MOU for these stipends, which is annual for us.
Fantastic. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the MOU with BTA for drumline and color guard.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, G. G is something new we're bringing to the board. It's urging for a resolution for our TK teacher requirements. So this resolution adopts local equivalency standards for the district, allowing up to 24 semester units to be satisfied through work experience. We experienced this year we've looked at and studied this. Our neighboring districts have this resolution in place. We have a very experienced teacher this year who has worked with our younger students and would like to teach at the TK level. And I recommend that the board adopts this resolution so that we have this equivalency in place.
I move that we approve resolution 26-27-01.
I'll second.
Who was second?
Yanni.
And this is a resolution, so roll call. President Grubbs? Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manas?
Yes.
All right, action item H, we're doing great. So this is a consideration for approval of an affiliation agreement with Pepperdine University. And President Grubbs, it's for the SLPs, the speech and language pathologists.
Nice.
There is a national shortage in this area, it would be in our best interest to form a partnership with universities for SLPs, and so I urge the board to approve.
All right. Oh, no, I was going to move. Can I move that we approve the clinical affiliation agreement with Pepperdine University.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And here we go. Before I adjourn this meeting, I needed to be notated that the board will be continuing with closed session. So given that, our next board meeting is Thursday, September 17th. So, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to school. Welcome back to work. We're happy to see you, and we'll see you next Thursday. I'm going to close open session, and we will go to the closed session.